The topic today, if you guys are just catching up, is subscription fatigue, because Java turned off the paid subscriptions option for her Substack, and I was really fascinated with that choice. You know, I love permission slips, and I love it when we can really listen to what we want. You know, subscriptions are forever until we turn them off, or we give ourselves a pause, or we give ourselves a break. So I'm super interested in speaking to Java about this and about what brought it all about. I know that people have spoken about it, especially a few years in to publishing on Substack for themselves, but also for their audience. You know, this kind of push-pull of, we feel that we need to publish more or try and keep up, or, you know, it kind of gets a bit overwhelming, doesn't it, in terms of how much to publish. There are also a ton of stories that we tell ourselves. So we might tell ourselves, or if we did more Zoom calls, then we'd have more subscribers. Or if we lowered the cost, then it would be easier to get paid subscribers. Or if we published twice a week instead of once a week, then it'll be easier to get subscribers. So there are all of these stories going on all the time, based on how we feel, yes, but also what we see happening on Substack. So I think it's a really interesting time as we close out the year to really question what we're proud of, firstly, what has challenged us, but also what we see as the vision for going forward into 2026. You know, we don't have to trip into 2026 doing the same things and feeling the same way. We can really lean in and kind of decide, okay, what do we want that to look like? And so for me, the first chapter of 2026 feels quite clear, but the overarching year and beyond doesn't yet. And that's fine. You know, it's only a few days into December, isn't it? So we'll just wait for Java to come and see if we can fix the issue with the live joining. She was having an issue with her camera. And I was saying sometimes when it's a scheduled live and you haven't accepted the mic and the camera option on Substack, you've got to kind of go live by yourself to reset it and then go back into the scheduled live. It's very strange. So we'll see what happens with that. So how are you guys all feeling as we close out another week? How's your week been? Have you published any wins, any paid subscribers, any surprising interactions, notes going viral, anything like that? Anything good happened? We like to celebrate. I've been down in London. That's why I look a bit tired today, because I actually am. I find London so inspiring and so tiring. So that's why my face looks tired. I'm fine. Also, my daughter isn't very well. So she was tossing and turning all night, bless her. She's got like a little flu thing. So I'm definitely feeling, ready for Friday. I don't usually work Fridays, but I wanted to do this chat with Java, and I also had a little bit of time off while I was in London as well. So I've just rejigged my week a little bit. But I went to the most beautiful journal launch for Selena Barker's Hello 2026 journal in London. She had a sound bath, and there was lots of people that write on Substack, lots of people that were like, oh, I know a Sparkle on Substack, but like I didn't know who they were. So I love that, because it's a really nice connection. It's a little bit strange at first, because I feel like I should know who they are, but then when you don't, and then you get that connection. So followed everyone on Instagram now, had some beautiful chats. Some people as well where you're like, oh, I can see exactly why I'm sat next to you. I can see exactly why we needed to have this conversation. So that was really beautiful. I met a really fascinating designer turned astrologer lady, Lou. She's not on Substack, but I think she'll be a really, really interesting person to stay connected to. I love a career pivot. And then I went to the Substack bestsellers party, which was really lovely. So I was there quite late. It was quite funny because people were like, have you just got here? Like, did you travel from Northumberland? I think it was about 10 o'clock when I got there. And I was like, oh no, I've been to another event. And then of course, all the questions are 2 events in one night. It's like, yeah, who am I? I don't normally do things like that, but it was definitely worth it because I was down anyway. And so that was really nice. I met George from the Freelance Writing Network. We've chatted quite a lot on and off this year, and the gorgeous Beth Kempton. Oh, it was beautiful. We had so many lovely conversations. We've actually got so much in common. It's really quirky. Like, my husband is a yoga teacher and her husband is a Pilates teacher. And I was just like, whoa, like what similarities? That was so gorgeous. And the pub was very festive and very lovely. Oh, Anna Wharton was there as well. Emma Gannon. Who else was there? Who else did I chat to? Farah. I think lots of people had left by the time I got there. I had a little glass of bubbles. It was nice. Right, is Java here? Just literally telling you about my week. What are you guys saying? Nicole's saying, I found clarity in where I want to take my Substack, and next year I'm going to make writing a book happen. Feeling sparkly and tingly about it all. That's so nice, Nicole. So the 12 chapters club that I ran this year, the idea was that I would give everybody a nudge once a month, every month, to write a chapter of their book or to work on the book proposal. And that's how I've written my book, Invisible Trust. Oh, Java's here. Yeah, good. And I'm going to do the same next year, but I really want to change it up. Like, I want to make it more possible for us to write together whilst also taking care of my own energy. So I haven't figured out what I'm doing, but I'm definitely doing it again. Right, let me see if I can invite Java in and see what happens. 12 Chapters Club. Yes, Georgina. Yes, so it's been good. So I had over 350 people sign up for it at the start of the year. Oh no, maybe over 400. And people were still opening the emails in summer. And then when it got to September, I was like, okay, this is the last chapter. I'm not sending monthly emails now. Like, let's just focus on getting the stuff done that we want to get done. So that's how I decided to do it. We did have one little Zoom meetup, which was nice. But we're doing a celebration in January. Everybody's welcome. So it's part celebration, part launch. If you want the link, let me know. It's a Luma event. It's free for everybody. So if you want to try and write a book in 2026, then come and do 12 Chapters Club with us. It'll be really good. So it's saying waiting for Java. So fingers crossed, something happens, whether we can get video and sound or just sound. Fingers crossed we can do something and find out a bit more about Java's story. I don't know why it would be so quirky today. Could be to do with cloud flares. Sounds like we're sending like beautiful flares up, doesn't it? Oh, can't see or hear anything. Very strange. Amy's saying, could you have collaborators that join you at different points for 12 chapters so it's not all on you? Yeah, I think I do need to do that. I think I need to make it like a collaborative, like a huge, bigger than me project, because I've got a lot. We've all got a lot, haven't we? Okay, Java. So what we're going to do is I'll ask you a couple of questions, and then if you type, I'll read out what you say. And obviously that's going to be a bit of a lag, so I'll just fill the time. I don't know what else to say if you can't hear or see anything, because I've never had that happen before. Only that we can't see my video, and then I've explained what to do with that. We have to uninstall the app and go back on, but you've tried that. I'm just thinking this through, seeing if there's any other way to do it. Right, let me ask you a question. So what I was saying to people at the beginning was that there's a beautiful permission slip in really staying in our own lane when it comes to showing up on Substack and doing what we want to do. Quite often we trip into turning on paid subscriptions, and then once we're in it, we're 2 people in, 3 people in, and it builds from there. But then there'll become a point where we sort of feel like, oh, this is quite a lot to hold, and I need to create separate resources. I don't know whether to paywall this piece of writing or have it for everyone, because I feel like my paid subscriber count is quite small, and that means lots of people aren't reading my writing. So for me, what was really inspiring about you making this decision when I read your article was this permission slip that you'd given yourself to turn off paid subscriptions. So I would love to know if there was a point in your journey where you just felt, I don't want to do this anymore, or this isn't the right time for me. And if you want to type the answer, I can read it out. And then we can see what happens after that. Abigail saying tech issues are so frustrating. Oh, I know it is, Abigail. So I had Natalie Lou come on and I was interviewing her about a book, and I couldn't get my video to work. And the same thing happened with somebody else as well. I think it was with Joe when I was doing the tap-in with Joe. But then I figured out it's like a hack, right? Like I just literally have to start a new live stream, accept the video thing, and then come back into the scheduled one. It's weird. And it seems to only happen when I've deleted the app, but I have to delete the app, So Java's saying I'm going to write in short paragraphs starting now. Yes. And if it's helpful, you can open this stream on your laptop. So you can type on your laptop, so you don't have to do it on your phone. It will just open. It should pop up and you can just click on it. I'll do that now as well. Yeah. Oh, Raj is here. Hi, Raj. We're just chatting about permission slips for what we want to do with our Substack. And so as we are waiting for Java to type, if you guys have any kind of spidey sense of cutting any energy down or ramping any energy up, I would love to hear about it. Obviously, I'm an open book and I talk about this stuff all the time. And that's one of the things I'm being really honest about 12 Chapters Club. It just felt monumental at the start of last year when there was 400 people signing up. And it's so interesting with signups on my website. So I can't work out why this happens really, because I've never signed up to my own website. But sometimes when I offer something for free, hundreds of people leave comments inside of my website portal, and other times they just sign up and they get on with their day. It's so weird. And so 12 Chapters Club, it was like a big wall of people being so excited. And then there was also a big wall of expectation on me. And I think I just froze a bit. I was like, I'm just doing this for free. It's one email a month to sort of keep you accountable to writing your book. But the expectation was like I was going to be the conduit to help them do the thing. And I'm like, oh no, like this is on you as much as it's on me. So that was really strange. And I think because I'd had such a big year last year, I was a bit like, oh, I'm a bit scared of 12 Chapters Club. Okay, so Java is saying, so I started to feel discomfort when I realized how overwhelmed I was feeling about my own subscriptions, both big and small, and guilt about the folk on Substack I couldn't subscribe to. And I thought the last thing I want is for others to have that feeling and my work. Yeah, so I get that. So the subscription overwhelm and the subscription fatigue is definitely something that I felt for the first time this year. And I've also been on the receiving end of it. So people will often drop me a really kind DM or they'll leave a message when they leave Sparkle on Substack to say, you know, I've loved this. I'm really sorry. Like I have to cut down expenses, or it's been great, but like I'm ready to move on, or it's really good, but I can't keep up. Like there's all sorts of different things. These feelings are very real and people feel connected to us, don't they? As readers, subscribers, community members of our work. So I think it really is an interesting piece on what our expectations are, because in the selling piece, we are asking people to support us. In the being paid piece, we do want to be paid for the work that we do. But at the same time, there has to be a balance in all of that. So for example, if somebody messages me and tells me that money's tight and they have to cut down on expenses, I'll offer them 3 months free inside of Sparkle on Substack if it's in service to them. And usually what happens is they say, that would be amazing, but not right now. So it's not always the money. Sometimes it's the money and the overwhelm. So they'll say, oh, actually, can I come back to you in spring, or can I come back to you like next year? And I'm like, of course, like the door's open, the offer's there. I'm here anyway. Like my work is in service to everybody that wants to stay creative on Substack and joyfully grow. So I'm just like, I'm doing this work anyway. I'm committed to do this work anyway. It's my job, but you don't have to feel that kind of push pull of the guilt of not keeping up or not being able to afford it or whatever else. So that's one way that I've really resigned myself to being able to hold everybody that wants to be held by the work that I do. And it feels easy to do that on Substack in lots of ways because of the way that I've got the membership set up. The same with my paid newsletter. You know, if anybody had that block, I'd be like, oh, you know, for sure, like you can just read this. If you find my business, the way I approach my business inspiring, then that's great, you know. So I definitely feel like I feel sort of a resolve around that element of it. The personal bit, Java, the bit where you're saying about you felt guilty not to be able to subscribe, that's something that I've worked through this year as well. So I don't pay to subscribe to any Substacks now. And part of that was a deep overwhelm myself, in that I couldn't keep up with the things that I was being invited to participate in, because there is quite a lot of participatory stuff. And also, I just felt like I'd gone into too much consuming. And I'm so passionate about us having space to create, like lots and lots and lots and lots of space to create. And I know that I always sign up as an annual subscriber, right? So I never jump in monthly. So then that commitment to me feels like the right commitment to make to the writer. But then what I've learned is, in myself, 2-3 years down the line, like I don't want to be committed in that way anymore. Not because I don't love the spaces, because I do, but because it's too much consumption. And so that's what I really felt. So I was like, the only way I'm going to be able to clear the decks is just cancel or pause them all. So that's what I did. And I have felt a lot better. I do miss the community participation, but I don't miss it enough. I think that for right now, I just really needed a blank canvas, and I needed to be with my colleagues and have lovely, intimate, personal voice notes with my colleagues and not be part of any communities or any invites and that sort of thing. So yeah. And so Java's saying, I realized that the model in itself is flawed. And now that paid subscriptions are also featuring adverts, it no longer felt like a sustainable way of supporting an artist, writer, and the creator economy. We need to be paid exactly, but this isn't sustainable. Love this. I wish she was on so we could talk about it more. So on that point of it being an economy for creators to get paid, one of the big things that I have moved towards, well, actually it started last year with my mastermind, is if Substack gives you the permission to be more business minded, and if it is a healthy income stream and a way to grow and a way to meet beautiful people on the way, then that's great. To make it a sustainable business in and of itself, you need tens upon tens of thousands of subscribers, and you need to do the maths on what it actually means to hold thousands of paid subscribers. So depending on the cost, obviously Sparkle is slightly more than what people might pay for a paid newsletter. So it's £20 a month and £220 a year. So as I was nearing 500 subscribers on there, that was a very healthy salary for me. Like in the northeast of England, that would be classed as a good salary. With the churn and the work that I had to do to grow, to stop the churn going backwards, it was a lot of work, and I would have had to, at that point, because my Substack had stopped growing, I would have had to invest in ads, and I decided not to. I decided to address the balance, let the paid subs go backwards, and offer more business-minded opportunities within my offer suite on my website. There's also and I'll be really bold about this, there's also the fact that we're paying Substack 10%. So with my Diamond membership, which is high ticket, Substack were obviously getting quite a lot of the money from that high ticket program. And that's great. I love Substack. I love the platform. It's opened up so many opportunities for me. But when you look at your business expenses and you realize how much you're paying in Stripe fees, how much you're paying in Substack fees, how much your website hosting is, how much you pay for professional Zoom and all of the other things that you do, it means that, it starts to do this a bit. And you're like, if I actually want to be paid, which is the bit, isn't it? Like we want to be paid for our work. And when you work that out and think about, okay, like how much am I plugging in? How much am I giving my time weaving it in evenings and weekends and all that sort of stuff? It is a different economy. It just is. So if Substack is an income stream into your business, which it is in mine, I have 9 income streams. Substack is one of them. Well, it's actually 2 because I've got the paid newsletter and the membership. Then that is a really healthy business model. If you want Substack to be the only thing and you want to show up to Substack and be a writer, you need to be aiming for over 1,000 paid subscribers at low ticket. If it's more than £20 a month, like that's a nearer 500 to 600, depending on what you want your salary to be. Okay. So Java's saying, when I started a subscription on Patreon, it also wasn't as oversaturated, and I really pitched it as your subscription helps support all of my output. Yeah, beautiful. And exactly as you're saying, subscriptions can feel like homework and a chore rather than joyful. Exactly. It needs to be gargantuan numbers of subscribers, and it's so much work to build that, especially with the costs, as you say. Yeah, it's the building and the churn. So for me this year, it's definitely been the churn because I felt sad. I felt really sad. Like when I first started Sparkle, I felt so excited to be able to hold space for people staying creative, to unlock their voice, to make sure that everything felt really good in terms of positioning, growth, monetization, all of that good stuff. But I didn't know how long people would stay for. And I've been on Substack since 2022. So next year will be like my 4th year. And one of the things I realized is because I don't know how long people will pay for inside of a membership, like I had no idea. I'd never run a membership before. I knew group programs, I knew workshops, I knew that model, but I didn't know the subscription model. And so in a paid newsletter, it can be really light lift. You write in your newsletter anyway, it's relatively low cost. You build, people leave nice comments, or they've started not leaving so many comments now. I don't know whether that's your guys' experience as well, but I think people are maybe just busier or more distracted. Whereas in a membership model, you've got a lot of customer service to do. You've got a lot of people who get very confused about Substack as a platform and need a lot of support. And so, realistically, to build something that feels sustainable whilst also not being devastated every time loads of churn happens, you've got to keep pushing the pedal on growth. And I don't think, as humans, pushing the pedal on growth is a very congruent way to live a life. I just think growth is growth, and growth is possible, and growth happens, and it's peaks and troughs. And when you zoom out on the big map of where you've been and where you've gone to, you can see growth. But I think if you are feeling the pressure to push the pedal on growth longer term, that's going to burn you out. I think it's going to mess with your head, and I think it's going to burn you out. So I stopped pushing the pedal. I've had a lovely time since. My business is more profitable and has made more money this year than it did last year. So it's made absolutely no difference taking my foot off the pedal on Substack. I just am here with all the truths today, guys. Okay. So yeah, and Java's saying about the costs as well. Okay. Charles is saying the churn is what kills your mood to me. Yeah. And so because the churn feels a bit impersonal, if you go into your unsubscribe notes, and I know lots of people don't like to, and I didn't for a long time, but I do it about 3 times a year now. And I feed all of the feedback from the very very beginning into ChatGPT, and I ask ChatGPT, okay, like give me a snapshot of how everybody's feeling when they leave. But that's not how an actual human feels. The only way you get to know how an actual human feels is by having a conversation with them in real life. Things on the internet, like black and white, feels very spiky. It feels very difficult. Like if you've got any sort of rejection sensitivity, which I've definitely had, like I've worked really hard to get over that stuff because obviously I've got an online business and I have to, but it can feel really, really difficult. It can feel a different dynamic. It can feel like you owe people something, or you didn't do enough, or, and sometimes people just don't read things. That's not my fault. It was all there, and I'm really sorry that you were confused, but you could have reached out. Like I always reply to everybody, so there's just so much. And of course, on the other side, I always wish everybody well. Like if people have got what they've needed from Sparkle as a membership, or had enough reading my behind the scenes of your business newsletter and want to move on and support other people, like that's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Like I'm for creators getting paid. So I don't need to like hold tightly to people paying me because of my business model, but that is because of a very conscious business model. And last year, Substack was over half of my income. Wild. Over half. This year, it's a third. Okay. Amy's saying it's the equity. Yes, Amy, please expand. I would like to speak to you about that point. So Java's saying, I was dedicating 2 days a week to Substack, working on general admin, trying to grow, and it affected my output. Yeah, I would love to know more about that, Java, in terms of if you had in your head, when I get to this point, I'll relax a bit more. Like if there was a point of gross annualized revenue or number of paid subscribers or number of free subscribers where you were like, yeah, I just need to get to that and maybe I'll feel more balanced, or maybe it just wasn't that. Yeah, Charles is saying the requested by user thing is hard to read. It is. And definitely turn off all of those emails. Just go in twice a year, 3 times a year. Make sure you've got the measure of it. Make sure that you're being really open and inviting to your community in chat or in your articles to say, I'd love to hear from you. Like I'll say, please voice note me on Instagram. Come and slide into the DMs. Like I love a chat. I genuinely love a chat because that's the human connection. Like I don't want to be a faceless writer. Like I'm here, I'm a person, I'm alive, and I want to chat. Java's saying also it's hard when subscribers have signed up for a very special theme or value, but you want to diversify or experiment. Yeah. So this idea of we've promised a thing or we're holding a thing, but then our creative identity wants to shift and we want to do something different. I definitely feel that. I feel like even when I make a promise, so I always keep my promises, but if I make a promise, like we're doing a thing, like I was saying about 12 chapters in the beginning, and then things go in a different direction. Either it gets really busy, or I feel like, oh, I feel really blocked or whatever. I tend to take the subscribers with me on that journey and say, oh, wow, like I wasn't expecting this. Or actually, typical this year, I did a series called The Growth Lab. And then because I wasn't experiencing any growth like over the whole summer, I was just like, well, I don't really know what I've got to say in the Growth Lab. I've invited some people in and it's been good and stuff. But I think at the beginning of the year, I was like, okay, so we'll just talk about growth in the Growth Lab. Still now in my member survey, which has just gone live, the top thing everybody wants is growth. Whereas my year this year is focused on depth of connection and building my business so that it's more sustainable and so that it doesn't take and drain energy from me. And I think that's the other bit about Substack to subscriptions, depending on whether you host community or whether you are putting energy into your paid newsletters and trying to balance growth by pushing the free ones. We're only one person, aren't we? It's a lot of work. If you get a post go viral, I've not really had this happen. Like I had it happen once in the early days, but that must feel like, oh, finally, I finally can like slide down the avalanche of all of these new people coming. Yeah, so John's saying one of my paid subscribers mainly enjoyed silly cat photos. I don't know whether to cater to this or stick to my environmental niche. I mean, can the two exist hand in hand? Can maybe people just need a bit of the joy of the cat photos whilst talking about a serious topic like the environment? Maybe it's that. So Amy's saying the way I see it is the visibility and credibility. Unless you've built a fandom, it's getting paid, but also it opens up other opportunities for income streams. Brand equity has a lot more points than just money, for sure. Yeah, I love that, Amy. So Java's saying I had 145 paid subscribers and I had 300 in my head as a goal. And along with all the other goals, it was the one I simply had to remove so that I could continue to enjoy writing instead of purely approaching it as a business. Which of course it is, but I decided to focus on that in other areas. Yeah, so isn't that interesting? So when people are working on getting towards bestseller, so 101 paid subs, there's definitely that feeling of getting to the golden goose. And then obviously once they reach bestseller, it's either they feel relieved that they've got there and they're like, right, great, we'll just write now. They've got that check mark, they've got that identity within the Substack ecosystem, and they feel really happy writing to 101 paid people. But then obviously what we're dealing with is an app and an experience that got wholly busier. News came in, people started leaving to go to other platforms. There was a whole load of dynamics of new people coming in from celebrities or, with more LinkedIn type speak. There was just so much going on. And then there was this feeling, this swell of like not enoughness because it felt hard to be seen. So I think when we were building earlier, it felt like a really warm and friendly marketplace with our colleagues. Now it feels like a social media that shouts. And we can curate our notes feed. I always talk about this. We definitely can. But I think it just has a different impact on our nervous systems. And, I'm a massive nervous system geek. So what I felt in myself was to create my best work, I literally just can't look at what anybody else is saying or doing. And that wasn't the case before. When I would go on before, I was like, oh, I love talking to everybody. This is so nice. All of my colleagues, and we're all working in parallel and there's so much to say and so much to share. Now I'm like, please stop shouting at me. Please stop telling me what Trump's done today. Like, I don't want to know that. I can't create from that place. My nervous system needs to feel calm and safe. So that's different. Okay, I'm going to read on the laptop now because it's much easier. So Amy's saying, my agent told me recently that publishing is going down rapidly on engagement. So anything we can do to turn up the dial. Also, don't feel like a failure. Communications is tiring because it changes all the time. It's a digital age. No other generation has had such rapid changes. It's a lot. We have to experiment and keep the joy, for sure. I read a really cool email yesterday that was like referencing how much we've had to learn about AI in response to ourselves. And I had a meeting with an agent when I was down in London that was talking about like a wholly horrifying experience with AI, like a live experience with AI. Like it's bonkers. And that's all been this year. Like literally this year, that's all happened in 1 year. Java's saying it has changed very, very quickly in the space of 1 year. My desires for it have shifted quickly because the app has, and I don't have the energy for it. It feels like a hustle. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying in terms of like, it's almost like, if you're so I've just been to London and it's like so busy and there's so many people and amazing outfits and gorgeous smells and Christmas lights. And then you go somewhere like really serene, like a hotel room. So I was in my hotel room. And I was just like, oh yeah. And that's for me, that's what Substack's become now. So as much as it is a wonderful place to create on, it's an easy place to get paid. It is the busy London High Street with far too much going on. And from that place, how does anyone sit and write? Like, we have to almost like close the door on all of that and be in our hotel room with the white sheets and the familiar TV and the tiny kettle. Okay, like we know where we are now. We can steady ourselves in that. And I think when you've been part of the transition of all of that, like this year, like we have, I think that's been hard on us, actually. I think that's been really tough. I think, speaking to a lot of my colleagues, a lot of them are bestsellers. A lot of them have, hundreds of paid subscribers, if not over 1,000. They've found that hard because it felt like such a joy to create in a space that gave them space. Whereas now it's like, oh, I've got to push, I've got to battle, I've got to hustle. And ultimately, if we commit to subscriptions long term, what does that even mean for our nervous systems? Like, we're just going to get fried, aren't we? Abigail says, I feel like I love the potential of Substack, but maybe I've come to it too late. I keep hearing how much it's changed, and it does feel quite hard as a new to Substack person to find the community sometimes. Not here, Claire, but elsewhere. Yeah, so on that point, and I really feel that as well. Like when people would talk about the golden days of blogging, or on Instagram you found your tribe, like I missed both of those things. Like I totally missed it, but I still have a healthy-ish relationship with the Instagram app. I still love being creative there. I still love curating my feed. I love chatting in the voice notes with people. So I feel like there is so much potential. It's almost like this year had to just be a really messy, noisy year. And as I mentioned, the AI thing as well. And then we get to choose how we want to show up. So either you go great guns on your essays and your free content, and that's how you position your Substack, or you have it as a hybrid model. And this is why I'm so interested in Java's story, because obviously there's been a huge permission slip there to just go, okay, like I know what that is, I'm going to turn it all off. And so back to those questions, Java, for you, in terms of turning it all off and how that feels for you now, how does it feel? And also, if you have any other ideas of how you can feel properly paid for your work, where will that come from? So, yeah, our next question. I'll have to go in a minute because my husband's got a client, but I do appreciate you all joining in the conversation. And I definitely don't want to be negative about Substack. I just think we've got an opportunity to be savvy about what we want longer term. So if we know that we're building something for the long term, although that can feel a big and scary question, what do we want? What do we actually want? What do we want here? How do we want to protect our peace, protect our time, take care of our nervous system? How do we want to hold anybody that wants to pay us? Patreon models exist, paid newsletter models exist, low subscription fees exist, memberships exist. There's so many ways with it. If you shift and focus on depth of connection, like I have, I can confirm that it has been the most rewarding year. And so because in the summer, like I said, I realized that the growth had completely stopped because of the recommendations network change. I was like, I just need to refocus. And so refocusing on depth of connection was such a beautiful invitation to myself, but also I feel like I've really got to know people. So if the increase in subscribers had stayed the way that it was, like I can't even tell you what that was like. Like it was so intense, guys. Like it's one of those where it's like, be careful what you wish for. But I was on a podcast recording with London Writers Salon the other day, and they're prolific. Like they've done incredible things. They've only been here since last year. I caught up with them before they started on Substack and guested for them. I'm guesting for them again next year. And just listening to how popular their Substack has been and how they've held it all, like I felt physically sick, like because I was like, oh, that's what it was a bit like for me. And it was such a lot to hold. Like my email inbox was nuts. My DMs were nuts. Like there was comments going on. I was trying to hear myself think. And so although we think that we want the big numbers, now that I've been able to focus on depth of connection this year, it's just felt so much more rewarding, and my nervous system finally has relaxed. Like, I've got little jobs done in the house that I've been meaning to do probably since before Luna was born, like I definitely just feel like that was a lot. And so I don't think that there's anything bad about building on Substack or arriving to Substack right here and now. I just think that you can lean into people who've had experiences like Java and gone, do you know what, that's not for me now. Or like me, where I've gone, oh, this is a real truth bomb. This is how things make me feel. Or, people lose the humanity in it sometimes. Java says, I felt like a big shift as it did cost quite a lot to refund the yearly subscription. So I definitely wobbled, wondering if I was self-sabotaging, but I just knew in my gut that I had to. The discomfort was too strong. Going forward, I want to focus more on creating online content along with my artwork, styling, and in-person workshops that can be purchased as a one-off instead of a subscription. Yeah, beautiful. So in terms of sustainable business, some of the workshops that I delivered 3 years ago that I sell as like an upsell on the back of something else on my website do really, really well. And so I'll put those for low ticket and people will check out and the replay's there and then they do that. I also hosted a gorgeous Substack retreat this year with Tanya from Ease Retreats, which was a really beautiful thing to do. And people do ask me, are you planning on doing another one? Things like that are so gorgeous to do. It took me about a week to recover from. So financially, it's not that viable if you work it out in the same way as you work out your energy when it comes to online work, but it is a very, very beautiful experience. So yeah, so much that we can do. Charlie's saying, I struggle with a subscription model, working with my own ebbs and flows. I know I have times when I need to disappear. I know there are potential ways to bake that into my model, perhaps, but I know it can end up making me feel guilty. Yeah, and so we touched a bit on the guilt at the start, and there's definitely people that I've paid for that have definitely ghosted me. I think people just overpromise. It's always better to underpromise and over deliver. And you'll have heard that loads of times, but it's like you've got to go deeply into, for you and to honor your creative practice, what does it mean to under promise? Because nobody wants to under promise, but you have to. Like, you just have to, because life, things happen. Like, I remember showing up to a call and my husband's best friend had passed away the week before. And like, I definitely shouldn't have shown up to that call, but I told myself that I had to. I love my work, but I wasn't steady enough to deliver it. I just wasn't. I did it anyway, but like, what's the toll? Like what are we doing? We need to model other ways of, okay, like, I think part of it was I didn't want to say the real reason. It was just too hard for me to speak about. So I was like, we'll just breeze through and try and do it. But I think that there's so much that we can do where we can set out our stall to say, like, I'm not here in August. I'm not here for the last 2 weeks of December. I don't work Fridays. Like, those parameters for me have been like healthy and felt really good. And you'll have your own. Java's saying, also by offering a container workbook or workshop, I think it can help avoid contributing to the overwhelm of overspilling inboxes. Yeah, and so Java spoke about this before as well, about that kind of, if we're all feeling subscription fatigue, she didn't want to add to that. And I think that's something that we can definitely consider within everything. So consider it with permission slips, consider it with how Substack fits your wider ecosystem, consider it with whether, you want your Substack to contribute towards writing an ebook or a physical book. So I've used mine to write an ebook this year. And I was going to publish some of those on my Substack. It didn't feel quite right to do that, but there's loads of ways that you can think about it and do it and make the model work for you. So Abigail's saying, feels like Substack could be a window onto you as a creative person who offers so much more. Yeah, and we've got this kind of opportunity to take people deeper. So we've got the attention economy here on Substack that we don't have on Instagram. If you think about social media and the hooks and hooking people into your world, there's so many different routes that people use to do that. But here on Substack, if you have a subscriber and they're opening your emails, then you've got that connection. You can deepen that connection by talking to that person in the comments, by supporting their notes, by supporting their newsletter. I definitely have worked through, not feeling guilty, not paying for newsletters, partly because in my mind, I want to support writers in other ways. So I buy the courses, I buy the books, I'll shout them out on notes. I feel there are so many ways that we can be supportive without being a paid subscriber. Also, I give thousands of pounds to Substack every year as it is. So for me, as much as I want to support them, I know that I can't deal with the overwhelm, the inbox overwhelm and the different invites to things right now. Now, will that be the case longer term? No, no, that's just the case for right now. And it's the case for us staying creative. That's what I really feel. Okay, so we'll wrap this up now because I know my husband needs to go and have a call. But if you haven't read Java's article, I'll put it in the replay. And Java, if you want to link to your article in the chat here, if you can grab it, that would be amazing because I just felt it was such a beautiful share. So open and honest. I know Java will be open to more conversation in the comments of that article. And I'm so sorry we couldn't make the tech work today. But I really appreciate you all bearing with us and being here. It's been really, really beautiful to explore this topic. And remember, we are just getting quiet enough to hear ourselves think. That's all we're ever doing. So we do that at the start of the week. We do that at the end of the week. We celebrate our wins. We practice our gratitude. And, you know, the whole system of what we are able to do here, but also on the wider internet, you know, Substack is just one part of the internet. It's one model. Oh, thanks so much, Java. So yes, so I'll share the link for you all in the replay. Have a fabulous weekend. I'll see you next week, members. If you come into our celebratory party, don't forget to bring your crown because we are celebrating. And what else have we got next week? Substack bestsellers party as well online. If anybody is a Substack bestseller or knows somebody that wants to come and celebrate and talk about money a little bit with Keris Fox, we're doing that. And Georgina Dean is kindly live scribing that for us as well. So I'll see you on one of those events or next time I do a live. Take care, everyone. Bye.